Hi, everyone. My name is Angela Ariano, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist practicing in the state of California. Today, I want to go over modalities of therapy. Before I get into any of that, which I'm very excited to do today, let's just remember that this is just for general educational purposes. Please don't consider this therapy or any type of diagnosis. This is just really for people who are maybe struggling in their own therapy and just want a little bit of insights, or are even considering therapy, and kind of getting some insights as to what it can be like, what it should look like, all of those things. All right, today I'm going to talk about modalities, and the main reason I wanted to talk about it today is because, as I scoop my turn, is because I'm actually doing a training this week on my two favorite modalities and how I can integrate them. I already did it before, but this is giving me even more insight and education as to how I can do that. So, modalities are really important to know for your own care and healing and therapy. Sometimes people go to therapy and they're really good. They go, they show up, but they don't really feel that change. Sometimes it's the therapist, sometimes it's our phase in life. And it can also just be the modality. The modality is, you may have heard phrases of like CBT, DBT, EMDR, solution focused. These are just a few of them. There are probably way too many that I do not have them all memorized, and no therapist is an expert in any of them. Each therapist decides to have a few that they really want to know well. And this is where education for you comes in, because you may want to go, I really have heard about CBT and I want a CBT therapist. I am not a CBT therapist. I actually really enjoy doing EMDR and IFS, a few others, but today those are the two that I'm going to focus on because that's where my training is. I believe also that a good therapist is going to tell you, hey, these are the modalities I use. In that first session, they should go, all right, it sounds like you're coming in for these problems. I use this type of therapy. This is what it will look like. This is how it will go. And that way you know, and you can maybe educate yourself. I sometimes, when I do IFS, when I do EMDR, I send them maybe some educational information on it. I think of it, and I tell this to my clients sometimes, when we go to the dentist, which I hate going to, why this is the example I use, I don't know. But when we go to the dentist, they tell us, hey, it looks like you have a cavity. We're going to take care of it this way. And then hopefully when they're working on it, they're able to say, all right, I'm going to put in the shot or whatever it's called, and I'm going to use the sucky thing, and they let you know. And I think your therapist should say, all right, this is what I see we're going to do. What are your thoughts? You should be able to have that. So knowing the modality you like is a great way to help you be able to know if you have the right therapist or not. So my approaches. I do use talk therapy, sometimes art, sometimes a little bit of ACT. I do not consider myself an art therapist, or at this time even an ACT therapist. But I do love, and those are what I'm going to talk about today, I do love IFS and EMDR. You do not have to integrate these. Some therapists are more eclectic and they just pull from all the different ones, and that's great because that's working for them. I've decided to focus a little bit more on a few. It just helps me be more structured and more focused when I'm with my clients. Okay, IFS. It stands for Internal Family Systems. This approach really helps people understand the different parts of themselves. For example, parts that might feel anxious, a part that feels protective, a part of us that's critical of ourselves or others. Sometimes we'll be like, oh, I feel like I should really start going to the gym. And then another part's like, I don't want to go to the gym. Sometimes it's kind of understanding those parts, but also being able to be more cohesive with those different parts of us. The part that's nervous about going to a party, and the part that's scared to go to a party, the part that's excited to go. It helps us be more cohesive with them, but also have more compassion. When you're feeling really upset or you're having a panic attack and someone says, oh, you just need to calm down. That's the worst thing we could probably tell somebody. But sometimes it's what we tell ourselves. When our anxiety shows up, we're like, oh my gosh, I just need to stop being anxious. But it makes it worse. With IFS, we almost learn to be able to sit and let our anxiety feel heard and safe. And when we feel heard and safe with a person, we calm down. When we feel heard and safe with a part, our part calms down too. I love using IFS. It helps us see that none of our parts are anxious or angry or depressed part are bad. They are there for a reason, and we want them to be able to feel heard and validated. I love it. So the other one I use is EMDR. This stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And this is a modality that is a little more fast-paced than IFS. So the two can actually really work well together. And EMDR really helps us almost understand our brain and how it kind of processes our memories. There's not a lot of talking in EMDR. You may have seen videos of people doing like self-tapping. That's it. You can also follow like a dot on the screen if you're doing it remotely, or the therapist's finger in person. This is really one of my favorites. I've used it myself in my personal therapy, and it made all the difference in the world for me. I think that's about it for now. I want you to really just be able to know that there are tons of different modalities. And if you're seeing a therapist, you're like, I like my therapist, but I'm not really feeling it, I really encourage you to let them know. As therapists, for the good ones, I guess, pat on my back, should I be doing that? I don't know. But as therapists, we really do want to help people heal and feel safe, but we're human too. So by letting your therapist know, say, hey, I really enjoy meeting with you, but I don't know if we're making progress. That is such a wonderful thing to talk about in therapy. It is not insulting. It is so great to be able to also, one thing, it's great to be able to have that conversation with somebody and to have it resolved. Hopefully that's what happens. But then for the therapist to take pause and go, okay, well, let's see what we're doing. Or actually, sometimes I've had clients say that and I go, actually, I've seen a lot of progress, and kind of tell them the progress I see. So knowing the modality that maybe you want, but also being open to different modalities. Sometimes people come in, they're like, DBT is the only therapy for me. I want DBT. And I'm like, it's not really my thing, you know? And so we try to, I go, I'll look into it. I'll see it. It's just, I don't consider myself a DBT clinician. And sometimes people go, well, I want DBT only. And sometimes people are like, well, what do you do? And it works for them. So sometimes being a little open. I think the point is to really let you know that there are lots of different modalities. These are the ones I use, a few of them, EMDR and IFS. They are my absolute favorites. I kind of cautiously say look them up because, as we all know, sometimes it's not the most accurate. And I didn't really get into all the details of it because I want my videos to be a little short and simple and just give a little bit of education out there. And if you want more, feel free to reach out. This is just to let you know EMDR and IFS are great modalities. They are used for trauma. They can be used for depression. They can be used for anxiety. IFS is actually pretty good for addiction. Can be used, I used it with clients with OCD. So don't think, oh, it won't work for me because I XYZ. That's not necessarily true. It can be used for neurodivergence. We even talked about that in my training today. I myself am neurodivergent, and I've used both of these in my own healing, and it works. So find the modality that you are maybe interested in, or look some of these ones up. These two are just my favorites for now, but there's so many great ones out there. It's just whichever one kind of works for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it made sense, and I will see you next time.